Jeff from Home Renovision says, do not use this grout.
Warning, do not use this grout.
We're gonna go ahead and use it.
Do not use this.
What's up everyone? We're going to try to tile this beauty back here just using this popular $80 Skil wet tile saw. It's a lot of descriptive words there. Did this do the trick, or did we have to opt in for one of those $200 to $300 wet tile saws? As of right now, only I know the answer to that, but keep watching to find out if this is a tile saw that'll help you with your next tiling project. Additionally, we're going to be using a far superior grout for our tile back here, which is forbidden by some of the biggest YouTube names in DIY out there, like Jeff from the Home Renovision channel.
Tear your walls off and start over, because you're done.
Trust me, it works. Just wait till the end of this video or check out my other video where I specifically use this grout and call Jeff out because he almost scared me out of trying it in the first place. He even admits later in the video that it's a far superior grout.
I personally think it's a much better grout.
Enough chatting, hit the subscribe button down below to follow more tricks and let's get on with it. Oh, by the way, if you're new to this channel, I am far from a professional tiler, but I think that makes this video even more important to watch. If I can do it with the Skil wet tile saw, so can you. So this is what we're starting off with here. Let's get into the steps. The first step is super easy. You just get your measurements, height by the width. That'll give you your total surface square footage. And then the next step is by far the hardest, and that is picking out the actual tiles that you're going to want to use. So we tried things from dark black tiles to a light gray, which ends up looking blue underneath the cabinets, and then we have other colors with textures, but finally we landed on this chevron style tile. So our first initial problem with the super white tile like this is that it's whiter than the brand new countertops we have here. But we're going to help mitigate that by using some of the smaller tile. There's a lot more grout lines in here. So we're going to use an off-white grout line, which should help tie this tile into the quartz countertops here. Every once in a while I get a comment about the annoying music on my videos, so today I'm going to just let you hear the normal sounds of the work site. ASMR is said to lower your heart rate, so sit back and relax. Besides my speaking points. For the trowels, I think I'm going to go with this really tiny one here. I wish I could tell you what size it is. This is the next one up. I feel like this would just leave too much mortar behind, so I'm going with the really small one. These are tiny tiles, so this will be fine. So the consistency of the mortar down here is like a peanut butter. When I put the mixer in there and I pull the mixer out, the mountains, the peaks that this make should loop over like a elf hat or something. I don't know. Probably a little runnier than that typically, but I'm gonna work with this here. I'm putting it on a wall. If I was gonna do it on a floor or something, I would probably make it a little bit runnier. So once you would apply it with the smooth side of your trowel, you then come back with the notch side. So you're basically applying the mortar and then taking the mortar away. After I cut the tiles, I'm going to sand it with a sanding stone, and this kind of gives the tile a manufactured finish. Then when I came across these outlets, I did mark where the holes were going to be at, and I have a better strategy for this later on in this video. Can't really tell what it is right now, but I'm using a rubber float here to press down the tiles, and using a float like this disperses the pressure across multiple tiles so it keeps things smooth and level. I cut out the tiles from the netting on the back where the outlet is because it's much easier to cut individual tiles rather than a full 12 by 12 sheet. And I'm using 1/8 inch spacers because that's how these sheet tiles come. It's great to have a two-person team here, someone to cut while someone sets the tile. We're continuing this a little bit differently than how we started. We're actually going to be cutting a continuous edge along the top and bottom. And so that way, instead of piecing in these little triangles as a second thought, it's actually one straight piece. This is the top, but for example, you put it here so it's all the way flush and lined up with the bottom, and then same with the top. So you can see how it fits in nicely just like that, and there's not a bunch of little pieces hanging off. But the other benefit is our seam is now in the middle here, and so to cut around the outlets, instead of having to cut around the middle of a whole panel of tile, sheet of tile, you can actually just take your blade and make room for your outlet, and then I'll come back and cut the tile later. As we're going through this project, let me break down how the Skil wet tile saw works and my thoughts on it. For just $80, you get a 4.5 star with 7,000 reviews, fully functioning wet tile saw made by Skil Saw. Decked out with your 7-inch blade, which is included, you can cut tiles up to 12 inch by 12 inch. I've cut much bigger tiles than that in the past, like those long wooden-like tiles, and I might have some old video I'll try to put up here on that. It keeps your tiles cool when cutting with the water reservoir and can even miter cut tiles at a 45-degree angle, which I've never tried, but I honestly wouldn't really recommend it on this one. But while you're probably here, would I actually recommend using this tile saw? Seeing how this is now my 5th tiling project, I would definitely recommend this tile saw to somebody who is a newer or a small-scale DIYer. Now, would I recommend it for somebody who's going to be doing more than 5 projects, let's say? Not really. I keep saying that I'm done tiling and that I'll hire out future projects, but after I always get these super ridiculous quotes, I end up coming right back to it. At this point, I think I should just upgrade my tile saw into one of those sliding ones because the projects just keep coming. I have 2 more bathrooms to do in the house I'm in right now. Unless the market changes and some of these prices tumble, then I might hire something out. However, an issue that I've always had with this saw is that when you're cutting some of those smaller pieces, it can start to chip your tiles prematurely and you'll most likely have several redo cuts. But at the end of the day, this is only $80. So if you're only using this for a couple of projects, go for it. I'd highly recommend it. If you're looking to do something longer term, go with something like the Porter cable. Another part of this ASMR experience is hearing my kids whine in the background. I'm sure that'll help lower your heart rate. Let's not stop there though. Here's a really messy kitchen we're working around. This tool right here is to scrape out any of the mortar that seeps through your cracks in your tile, or your gaps I should say. But since this is now my 4th tile project that I've done, I am more aware of how much mortar I use in the back, and to clean up the edges of my tile so that way a lot of it doesn't seep through. And it's a good thing because you can see just how many mortar or grout lines there are in my tile here. So this project alone would take all day, but now it's a 5 to 10 minute project. And since our grout lines were so clean, I can actually reuse all of these little spacers, even though it only costs about $5 for 500 of them.
Sounds cool. So you went with alabaster? Yes.
All right, so I got a little bit of water in the bottom of the bucket, and I use that really when I'm mixing anything before I put in the actual mortar, grout, whatever it is, drywall compound. Otherwise, your dry powder will stick to the bottom.
It's like you're mixing a potion.
I'm gonna do about half the bag, that way I have extra in case there's a mistake later on or I make it too wet, then I can come dry it up. And then you're gonna mix it slowly for 4 to 5 minutes. Last time I made a video on this stuff, everybody was crying about how the humidity is different, the temperature is different. I'm using glossy tile rather than stone or something like that. So for full transparency, it is raining outside. I made my consistency a little bit more on the runnier side. And yeah, it's a glossier tile. Let's see how it works. You want to turn off the filming, please? Then you clean out your sponge, completely strain it from the water until it's, just moist. Then wipe with it on one side, turn the sponge over, and wipe it on the other side, and then keep using your clean sides. And yeah, simple. After you give your tile a nice sponge bath, then come back and wipe it with a shop cloth or a very clean rag. Guys, thank you so much for watching this. As stated earlier, I highly recommend the Skil saw. If you're only going to be doing a few projects, even if you're only going to do a project a year, I would still recommend this. You're not going to get frustrated using this tool. And heck, at the end of the day, you could buy a brand new one for every tiling project you do, and you would still save thousands of dollars compared to hiring out a tile job. Our tile back here came out better than we could have expected, especially since we went with the chevron, I don't know what you call that kind of design that back there, but came out phenomenal. If you have any questions on this, hit me up down in the comments below. I try to get back to as many as I can, especially the nice ones. Like this video if you enjoyed it or if you learned something today, and I'll see you all on the next product review or just general DIY video. Peace. Look how awesome it looks with these delicious, freshly baked muffins my wife made. I already had a little snack.